Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson. Today we're listening to uh, Jared Galen Bridgen. True story. Yeah.
3-year-old Jared Bridegan was returning home on the
Jared
evening of February
Bridegan.
16, 2022, when he was gunned down in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Residents who heard popping sounds contacted 911. After officers from the Jacksonville Beach Police Department arrived at the scene, they discovered the car's hazards were still blinking. Jared lay dead near the front of his SUV, while his 2-year-old daughter, Bexley, who was possibly the only witness to the crime, was still strapped into her car seat, unharmed. It became clear to police that the shooting was planned after they discovered a tire blocking Jared's path. As the investigation into his murder began, the community became captivated by the story of Jared Bridegan. But among the many whispers, investigators were going to stumble upon a lead. Was it the handiwork of a serial killer? Or had Jared made an unwitting enemy? Or was Jared just in the wrong place at the wrong time? Jacksonville, Florida is located along the Atlantic coast of northeastern Florida. With a population of 950,000 people, it's the most populous city in the southwestern United States. Jacksonville attracts many visitors who seek to enjoy the laid-back lifestyle with a touch of the good old American South. Jacksonville is also considered an affordable city to live in. On the downside, there is a high crime rate. Jacksonville's crime rate is one of the highest in America compared to communities of all sizes. There's a 1 in 30 chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime. In 2022, Jared Bridegan would become a victim in another senseless crime. Born on June 29, 1988, Jared Galen Bridegan was raised alongside his younger siblings Ashley and Justin, and older brother Adam by parents Gaylord and Joanne Bridegan in Warrensburg, Missouri. His entire family relocated to Jacksonville, Florida when he was still very young. In 2007, he graduated from the Douglas Anderson School of Arts. He pursued a Bachelor of Science degree at Utah Valley University. After graduating in 2014, he pursued various career options. In 2017, he started working as a senior design manager at Microsoft. Jared was raised in a very devout Christian home and valued his religion and family above all. In 2010, he married Shanna Gardner, and together they welcomed a set of twins, Liam and Abigail. However, his marriage to Shanna ended in divorce in 2015. He then went on to meet a woman named Kirsten, whom he married in 2018, and together they had 2 girls, Bexley, age 2, and London, who was 6 months old, in 2022. Jared was described as a man who loved his family, with a happy-go-lucky personality, and had a positive impact on all those he met. Although divorced from Shanna, he never missed an opportunity to spend time with his twins. It was on one such night their entire lives would change. At around 8 p.m. on February 16, 2022, Jared had just left the home of his ex-wife, Shanna Gardner Fernandez. He'd just spent the evening having dinner with his 10-year-old twins, Liam and Abigail, whom he shared with Shanna, and his daughter, 2-year-old Bexley, whom he shared with Kristen. As he drove out of the Jacksonville Beach area, he took notice of a single tire blocking the exit out of the Sanctuary neighborhood. Not wanting the tire to obstruct anyone else or possibly cause a serious accident, Jared decided to move the tire off the road. He slowed his car and switched off his engine before turning on the hazard lights to alert other passing motorists of his presence. As he stepped around to the front of his vehicle, he was ambushed by an unknown gunman. The neighborhood was quiet, and those living in the area heard several distinct popping sounds. Several calls were made to the Jacksonville Beach Police Department, reporting gunshots in the neighborhood. When police arrived at the scene shortly after 8 p.m., they found the car with its hazard lights still switched on, and a man lying in a pool of blood near the front. Inside, they found a baby girl still strapped into a car seat. They identified the victim as 33-year-old Jared Bridegan of St. Augustine's, Jacksonville. The child was taken to the police station as officers contacted Jared's family to report what had just happened. As Jared's wife, Kirsten, made her way to the station to be with her daughter and answer important questions, other teams of investigators remained on the scene to assess the situation. The vehicle was checked and investigators determined that nothing had been wrong with the car. Jared had stopped voluntarily. Residents were questioned, and many reported that there was no argument heard before the gunshots rang out. Shell casings from a handgun were found at a crime scene. It was discovered that Jared had been shot at close range. Sergeant Tanya Tater of the Jacksonville Beach Police Department said the investigators in charge of the case believed the shooting had been planned. She said the belief stemmed from the fact that the tire was placed in such a position that whomever was driving would be forced to stop to remove the obstruction. It was also discovered that nothing had been stolen from the car of the victim. The shooter was unable to get up close and shoot the person while they were trying to remove the tire. Exactly why Jared was targeted could not be determined. It may have been a case of the wrong place at the wrong time. Investigators reached out to the community for information. They questioned walkers and joggers who may have noticed any suspicious activity prior to the shooting, and asked residents with surveillance footage to submit any videos that could help them piece together the puzzle of the murder mystery. At the station, Kirsten answered questions about Jared and any possible enemies he may have had. She told investigators that nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and that she'd called Jared minutes before the shooting. He seemed in high spirits after dinner with the kids, and didn't mention any feeling of unease. Kirsten also mentioned to investigators that Jared routinely took this particular exit in order to get back home after dinner with the twins. But for all she knew, there was no one who wanted to kill Jared. He was not the kind of person to make deadly enemies.
The minute you met him, you just fell in love with who he was. He honestly was the best dad. Whenever I needed a break, he scooped up all the kids, took them out, did something, or took them outside and gave me a minute to catch my breath.
Jared's murder was quickly becoming a whodunit. Investigators were working hard to find his killer and scoured security footage that they believed would uncover the clues they desperately needed. They knew the tire being in the road was no accident. It was intentionally placed there to stop a vehicle. A reward of $55,000 was set up for any information that could lead to arrests in Jared's murder. It was a sensational story, and the media also looked into uncovering information about the victim and his background. This was further compounded by the many whispers in and among the residents in the area. This started after Shanna's absence was noticed at Jared's funeral. According to family members, Shanna was not invited, but what raised eyebrows was that she did not allow their twins to attend either. People began to talk about Jared's personal life, particularly his relationship with his ex-wife, Shanna Gardner Fernandez. It wasn't a secret that Jared and Shanna had gone through a messy divorce. But now, the true story was coming to the surface. Jared had met Shanna in Florida in 2009. They'd fallen in love and got married in 2010 in Salt Lake City, Utah. Shanna then gave birth to a set of twins, one boy and one girl. However, their son had suffered from a congenital heart problem. The family relocated to Connecticut for the sake of their son's health. But 2 years into the marriage, problems began to arise. Frustration in the relationship grew as both spouses seemed to be living separate lives. Jared and Shanna, though, decided to give their relationship a fresh start and made the move to Jacksonville. Here he began working as a chief technology officer at Clean Simple Eats, and Shanna began her own baking company from home called Beach Baked 904. All seemed to be going well until December 2014. Problems arose when Jared discovered intimate emails being exchanged between Shanna and her trainer. She denied the affair, but told him that she did not love him anymore. According to reports, Jared did not want to give up on their marriage because of the children. But by then, their marriage had fallen apart. By February 23, 2015, Shanna filed for divorce from Jared. Thus began a bitter court battle. Although he fought to stay together initially, Shanna filed the divorce papers and stated that their marriage had been irretrievably broken and they didn't love each other anymore. They lived together for a while in their Jacksonville home, but Shanna eventually demanded she be granted the house in the divorce and primary custody of the children. There were over 300 entries and motions filed between Jared and Shanna in the court folder. Shanna had accused Jared of showing behavior towards their children. She'd even gone as far as to accuse him of wanting to steal from their children's trust funds. It's important to note here that Shanna and Jared were financially supported by Shanna's family since the very beginning of their relationship. Her parents, Sterling and Shelley Gardner, were the founders of Stampin' Up!, a multi-million-dollar arts and crafts company. They were also important figures in the Mormon community in Utah. Shanna's parents bought them their first house and provided a hefty allowance to the couple to maintain their lifestyles. Even when the couple moved to Connecticut and then Jacksonville, her parents were the ones to buy them their homes. Based on this, Jared countered Shanna's accusations and demands. He said he wanted primary custody of the children, the house, and alimony from Shanna, as she had the resources to afford her lifestyle, whereas he did not. He also allegedly told his lawyer that Shanna lied about not having any income, as she worked under the table for her mother and received thousands of dollars in income. Jared also accused Shanna of spying on him by placing baby monitors in the children's bedrooms and attaching a tracking device to his car. The divorce proceedings grew nasty as they fought for custody and alimony. In July 2015, their lawyers finally came to an agreement. Jared and Shanna were awarded a shared parenting agreement of 50-50. Both Jared and Shanna were remarried to different people by 2018, but this didn't stop Shanna from fighting her case. In 2019, Shanna accused Jared of coaching the children and interrogating them about her and their lifestyle. She claimed that he intended to use these recordings against her in court proceedings. She went as far as to demand a social investigation into these accusations in June 2021, as she believed this was a form of abuse. She once again made a filing against Jared, claiming he was being vindictive towards her when he refused to lend her a ventilation machine for their son Liam. She claimed Jared was more concerned about hurting her than his own son's health. The new information, though, was merely speculation and not something solid enough to accuse Shanna of being responsible for her ex-husband's death. But when Shanna's name started to appear in the newspapers, two people came forward with even more interesting information to the media. The first was an employee at a tattoo and piercing parlor in Florida. According to the employee, Shanna had come into the shop and wanted to get a piercing in February 2015. They formed a friendship after discovering they both had lived in Utah. She returned often to the tattoo parlor and vented about her soon-to-be ex-husband and their marital issues. It was only after dinner with their mutual friends that the tattoo artist noticed the red flags. Shanna mentioned looking for someone who could shut her husband up, but no one took her seriously. He didn't think much of it until Jared's murder. A few weeks after the tattoo shop employee spoke out, another man came forward, Shanna's former personal trainer. Shanna had denied having an affair with her trainer to her ex-husband, the courts, and anyone else who asked her about it. However, the trainer said that they did indeed have an affair. According to the trainer, Shanna told him that she and Jared were separated and not living together. He told media outlets that Shanna lied to both him and her husband, and the affair had occurred while she had still been married to Jared. At this time, the trial by media of Shanna Gardner Fernandez was reaching a fever pitch, and she eventually resorted to hiring renowned Jacksonville defense attorney Hank Cox III. This, Shanna said, was done in order to protect her and her family from becoming embroiled in the sensationalism surrounding the case. Shanna made a statement that the scrutiny had started to make her children feel unsafe, and that they were struggling with all the attention. Although the media seemed to have done their own investigation, and the community had seemed to have reached their own verdict, investigators were still no closer to finding Jared's killer. By June of 2022, Shanna granted a one-time interview to Action News Jax's Kristen Rary. She did this in order to finally clear her name and explain her silence and actions to the watchful public. She firstly explained why she stayed silent about Jared and her life with Jared before the divorce.
I was asked to not talk to the media or give a public statement, but with the level of speculation, I felt that now it was necessary to speak out. I'm sure you would say that we've had happy moments.
She then went on to tell the interviewer about the evening Jared was gunned down.
It was actually one of the things. I remember my son tucking him in and him saying that it was a good date night.
The interviewer then asked the burning question, if she'd been involved in Jared's murder.
No, I did not have anything to do with his murder.
Shanna then explained why she hired a defense attorney, and that she would not want anyone to go through an experience like this.
He was referred to me by several friends, and ultimately my kids' images and videos were being used in the media without consent.
Investigators, however, continued working behind the scenes for 11 months before they released any information to the public. It seemed like the case had gone cold, but the investigative team had already begun working with a new possible lead. This was because investigators had received some very interesting information. The tire that was found at the scene was matched to a Ford F-150 Lariat truck. Furthermore, analysis of the security footage collected from homes and businesses in the area also showed a dark-colored Ford F-150 truck believed to be a 2004 to 2008 model circling the area where Jared was shot shortly before the incident. After several months of searching through records, they finally found a match. It had been the breakthrough they hoped for. Investigators discovered the man that they'd been looking for had already been in jail since August 18, 2022 on unrelated charges. 62-year-old Henry Arthur Tenon had a long list of criminal offenses dating back to the 1990s. Tenonville was born in Hawkinsville, Georgia in 1961 and moved to Jacksonville around 1991. His current employment history was listed as self-employed on his Facebook account. Between 1998 and 2022, his list of offenses included domestic battery, operating a vehicle with a suspended license, criminal mischief and trespassing, and driving under the influence. By the time investigators discovered his involvement in Jared's murder, he was charged for being in possession of a weapon as a felon and for driving with a suspended license during a routine traffic stop. On January 25, 2023, police announced the arrest of Tenon in relation to Jared Bridegan's murder. However, their investigation was far from over.
Just under an hour ago, this man, Henry Tenon, was arrested for the following crimes: conspiracy to commit murder, second degree murder with a weapon, accessory after the fact to a capital felony, all directly related to the murder of Jared.
Investigators were still not convinced that Tenon acted alone in the murder of Jared Bridegan. Instead, they ordered a 30-day seal be placed on the case until more information became available to avoid jeopardizing the investigation. Having discovered that Tenon was the man whose vehicle was seen on security footage, they now needed to find his link to Jared. Investigators then went on to conduct witness interviews and look through Tenon's personal records. With more than 77 subpoenas and 30 search warrants issued to various departments for information, they stumbled upon a link that would catapult the case. The twist in the case was unexpected. Investigators were now questioning how much of the local gossip may have actually been true. A background check of Tenon revealed that he was a tenant in a home on Potomac Avenue in Jacksonville. The home was owned by 34-year-old Mario Fernandez, second husband. This was the only link between Jared Bridegan and Henry Tenon. Mario and Shanna met at a CrossFit gym in 2018, where he was a maintenance man. The two got married in the same year and lived together in Jacksonville Beach with their children. Mario managed and maintained rental properties in Florida and had become a big supporter of Shanna during her ordeal with Jared. Mario did not have a criminal record, but was involved in an intimidation incident in 2018 with a neighbor. The 2018 report submitted by Mario's neighbor about the incident stated that he intentionally walked his pit bull up to where she'd been feeding a few stray cats. When police were called to the scene, Mario told them he had no malicious intent. The officer then advised him about municipal ordinances involving dangerous animals and suggested he contact animal control about the feral cat problem. The neighbor, however, said that there had been other run-ins with Mario that included threats about the cats. Investigators were able to link Tenon to Mario through phone records and banking records. Mario had apparently given Tenon 3 handwritten checks between October 2021 and February 2022. There had also been unusually high phone activity building up to the night of February 16, 2022, and a decline in the months that followed. Mario's arrest was announced on March 16, 2023. He was charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, solicitation to commit a capital felony, and abuse in relation to having a mic present at the scene of the crime.
Today, we announce the additional arrest of Mario Fernandez Saldana for several charges related to Jared's murder.
Kristen spoke of their pain as a family after the announcement.
We have great relief knowing that 2 of the people behind my husband's murders are now behind bars and are no longer a threat to our family. We are also still angry that they were walking free while we were grappling with the reality that Jared wouldn't be here for any future memories, vacations, or tender moments with our kids.
Amen.
Angry that our youngest, who was 6 months at the time of his death, will have no memories of her father. Angry there will be no new memories for Liam, Abby, Bexley, London, or anyone who knew and loved Jared. We have fought hard for the truth, and the world now knows what we have known all along, that Jared truly was an innocent victim.
On the same day, Tenen pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and admitted to being the man who pulled the trigger. He also agreed to testify truthfully against any co-defendants. The charges of conspiracy to commit murder, accessory after the fact to a capital felony, and abuse in relation to having him present at the scene of the crime were dropped due to his cooperation. Police have theorized that Mario had murdered Jared for financial gain. The theory stems from the fact that Jared was claiming alimony from Shanna Gardner Fernandez, Mario's current wife. Mario appeared in court on April 4, 2023, and pleaded not guilty to the murder of Jared Bridegan. He was remanded in custody and denied bond. In May 2023, prosecutors said they were intending to seek the death penalty for Mario Fernandez Saldana.
Mario Enrique Fernandez Saldana, pursuant to Florida Statute 7204B, that the state of Florida intends to seek the death penalty for first-degree murder charged in this case.
On Tuesday, June 20, 2023, Mario Fernandez appeared in court once more. He pleaded not guilty once again and waived his right to a speedy trial. Mario has opted to fight his case in front of a jury. His next court date was set for July 1, 2023. Shanna Gardner Fernandez still remains a person of interest in the case. Her strange behavior has not gone unnoticed by investigators or Jared's family. For one, property records show that Shanna moved to Washington with her children just weeks before Mario's arrest. The property, however, was purchased by her parents in September 2022. Her parents also added fuel to the fire by releasing a statement to their employees the day before Mario made his first court appearance. In the email, they acknowledged Mario's involvement in the case, and the only information they have is what's been reported to the media. They also made sure to mention that Shanna and Mario had been separated for an extended period of time before news of his arrest broke. Jared's widow, Kirsten, has not kept quiet about the email or any of the social media posts made by Shanna and her family. She pointed out that the Gardner family did not share any condolences with Jared's family in their post, have distanced Shanna from Mario, and have somehow minimized the extent of the charges brought against Mario. In interviews and press conferences following the announcement of the arrests of both Henry Tenen and Mario Fernandez Saldana, Kirsten Bridegan and Jared's brother Adam Bridegan talked about the pain suffered by their family.
As I learned more details of what happened to Jared, that there was a tire, it was pretty clear that someone knew his route, his schedule. I have felt since the beginning that this was planned, this was thought out, and this was specific to Jared. So I am not surprised that they announced that Henry Tenen, someone that we've never heard of, that Jared did not know, wasn't alone in this.
It's frightening, frankly, that there is a connection and that there is this mass conspiracy. It does not help us sleep at night.
Adam also makes mention of an eerie remark that Jared once made about being afraid of something bad happening to him.
I did have several conversations with Jared where he did express concerns that something like this could happen to him.
There remains speculation about Shanna's involvement in the case. Some believe that Shanna may have known about the entire crime, while others feel that Mario acted on his own out of love and concern for Shanna's well-being. For now, though, investigators are still working on the case and have not released any new information regarding the investigation.